Hey everyone, so today I'm going to talk to you about photosynthesis and respiration. I want to understand in a way of how they are to you in real life, how they relate to you, because they do every day affect your life. And then also I want to finish by talking about how they are related to one another. So to understand respiration, you have to understand that there are different types of respiration, right? People get confused by that. There's a mechanical respiration, which is just getting air in and out, right? Air in, air out. Okay? We'll talk about what's going in and out in just a moment. But so when you think the other type of respiration is cellular respiration. And that's the one that I want to focus on today because that involves making energy. The characteristics and needs of living things. All things have to make energy. All things need to make energy every single day, all day long. If you're not making energy, you're not a living thing. Okay? And respiration is the key way that most things make energy. So, to understand what you need for energy or how respiration is happening, first I want you to think about what you think of when you think of energy. You think of usually food. If I'm not eating food enough or I go a long time without eating, I get dizzy, I get weak, I feel like I don't have any energy. So, all of your food does not go into this process. Your food, whatever you eat, is a giant big thing, right? Like maybe you're eating a cheeseburger, okay? So you can't take this cheeseburger and you can't fit it in yourself, right? So just to say this, it's your cells where energy is made, okay? So we need to get this cheeseburger, whatever's in it, into your cells, and we do that through the process of digestion. That's why you digest things. So you can take this giant cheeseburger and break it down to really small pieces to get it into every cell. So what does it get broken down to? It gets broken down to the different organic compounds, proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, nucleic acids. Once it gets down to these basic molecules, it's ready to go into your cells. So just a quick analogy on that, the room I'm in is made of cinder blocks, these little tiny rectangular blocks, which when put together can make a giant wall. So if this wall is the cheeseburger, and you want to break it down, you got to break it down to those little building blocks. Because once I have the little block, like the wall blocks, I can build a different structure. Okay, I can just put the configuration of the cinder blocks in a different way and make a different sized room. The same way I can take those little parts of the cheeseburger and I can make the things my body needs, the proteins my body needs, the chemicals my body needs, things like that. Well, one of the components that is very crucial to respiration that is in your food is a carbohydrate. A simple sugar called glucose. And glucose has a molecular formula that looks like this. It's C6H12O6. And this whole thing is a molecule, and each of these individual letters represents the atoms in that molecule. The atoms being the smallest part of an element that cannot be broken down. Right, still has the properties of that element, a pure substance. So in this case, I've got 6 carbons, I've got 12 hydrogens, and I've got 6 oxygens. And I know that this is one molecule of glucose because there's no number in front. There's no what we call a coefficient, and the coefficient would tell me how many molecules of a substance there are. In this case, there's no number written, so that means that there is one molecule of glucose. So there we get the food we eat. Now we have to think about what else we do all the time. We breathe, right? Breathe in, breathe out. It would make sense the stuff that we're breathing in, the stuff we want, and the stuff we're breathing out, the stuff we don't want, right? So what we are breathing in is oxygen. We're technically breathing in air, which is a mixture of different gases. The gases oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. But this is what we want for respiration. We want the oxygen. And when I have glucose and oxygen, I'm going to yield things. I'm going to make other things. And the key component that I'm going to make, the goal of respiration, is to make energy. And there's a molecule that we make that provides cellular energy. And its acronym is ATP. And ATP stands for a long name, adenosine triphosphate, okay? And that's the molecule that's used for cellular energy. So when your cells want to take those pieces of those basic organic compounds and build new molecules and make new things, they want to make new proteins, make enzymes to help speed up reactions for making new things or breaking things down. They want to add new organelles, things like that, okay? That is cellular energy. That allows the cell to do work. Now, we also make, produce, create products on this side that are not the goal, and some of them are waste and some of them are not. So let's talk about the waste product, because that's easy, right? Oxygen in, and here's the waste. Carbon dioxide. So you're going to make 6 carbon dioxide molecules, okay? Again, my subscript down here next to my oxygen tells me there's 2 oxygen atoms. There's no subscript next to the carbon, which again, just like the coefficient when it's not written, is understood to be 1, okay? And in this case, I have 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, okay? The coefficient 6 tells me that. Now, there's one more thing that's made. You could call it a waste product because it's not the goal. Energy is the goal. But this one's an important waste product. It's something that we will use all the time. And it's not as obvious as the others, but when you think about the other thing that's really important that we use all the time, it's water, okay? No subscript here. That means there's 1 oxygen atom. 2 under the H, which means 2 hydrogen atoms. This is a molecule of water, and there are 6 water molecules in this process. Yes, this is technically a waste of this process, but water is the universal solvent. That means most things dissolve in the presence of water. Most chemical reactions in your body, the 60 to 70% that makes up your body is water, and that water is important for all these chemical reactions. And so your body's going to reuse that, okay? So that's making energy. Respiration, mostly every living thing does it, from the simplest single-celled organisms, the unicellular organisms, to the largest multicellular organisms, including your cells. So where does photosynthesis come in? Well, photosynthesis is not completed by all organisms. It's only completed by autotrophs. And so plants are autotrophs. They make their own food. They do photosynthesis. So just like we saw with respiration, we thought about the things that we need to respirate as heterotrophs. What does a plant need? Well, I hope the thing that initially or right away comes to mind, or one of them, is that plants need water. Okay? So, matter of fact, plants need, for photosynthesis, plants need 6 molecules of water. Okay? The other thing I want you probably realize right away is that plants need sunlight. And I'm drawing the yield sign now because I want to put sunlight here. And the reason I want to put sunlight here, instead of on the left side, my reactant side, my raw ingredient side, and is because it's not technically made of any atoms. It's not made of matter. It's not made, there are no atoms that make up molecules of sunlight. Sunlight is a form of energy. It's light energy. And so it's considered a catalyst, right? And so it will help this reaction happen, but it doesn't have these chemical symbols associated with it. So sometimes you'll see people write H2O plus sunlight on the left side as a reactant. It's just to make it easier to understand. I'll show you why in a minute. But really it belongs here over the yield sign because it's not used in the reaction to form new molecules. It does help those bonds form between the atoms and the new things we're going to produce, the new products, but it's not actually used up as an atom or a molecule. So the other thing that may not be as apparent unless you talk to your plants, because when you talk to your plants, you are giving off carbon dioxide, which is very, very important for plants, and it's the gas that they need for photosynthesis. So I'm going to add 6 CO2. So 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O in the presence of sunlight will start to yield things. And the main thing that it yields, The goal of this process is to yield a molecule of glucose, C6H12O6, once again. And we know that it yields one molecule because there is no there is no coefficient written in front of the molecule. Okay? In addition to making glucose, it also releases a gas in this process, oxygen. Okay? Very, very thankfully it does that because it makes oxygen for all of us heterotrophs on the planet. Okay? And so this is pretty much it. Now you have it. This is what happens in photosynthesis. Now, a common misconception people have is that because something photosynthesizes, it doesn't respirate. Well, if photosynthesis makes food, which is the end product, notice there is no energy being made. So a plant will need to take their glucose into this process up here for respiration and be able to make energy. But luckily, plants make much more of this than they need. That's why heterotrophs can eat autotrophs and get energy, get the food they need, the glucose to make their energy. In addition, plants also will not use up as much oxygen as they make. And so they'll release a lot of that oxygen out into the atmosphere, which is great for us heterotrophs that need it for respiration. Okay? So another thing you can think about when you think of plants is the fact they have a large vacuole. So that makes sense since they need a lot of water for this process. Okay? So I hope that as I'm pointing these things out, the similarities between respiration and photosynthesis, you're starting to realize that some of the things down here are exactly the same as the things up here. And it's exactly the case. These are considered reciprocal processes. If you remember from math, if I have a fraction such as 2/3, what's the reciprocal of that? Well, you turn it upside down, right? It's the exact opposite. Put the numbers the other way. It's 3/2. So that being said, these are reciprocal processes. The reactants of one are the products of the other, and I'm going to show you that now. I need glucose in respiration. It's a reactant. Here it's a product. I need oxygen in respiration. It's a reactant. Here it's a product. I need carbon dioxide as a product of respiration. It's a waste product. I need that as a reactant in photosynthesis. And I need water is a product of respiration. I need that for photosynthesis. Same exact thing. The only difference is where we write energy. Again, some people put sunlight on the left. Here's my explanation of what I was talking about before. And that makes it easier because you could say, hey, wait, energy, carbon dioxide, water. And you could say carbon dioxide, water. And if energy is here, you can see all three things on the left. Makes it easier to understand. But technically, sunlight belongs here. So energy, energy. Okay? So, and that's it. That's the relationship between respiration and photosynthesis. And the last thing I want to talk about, this is more about chemical reactions, is the conservation of matter. The conservation, the idea that matter cannot be created nor destroyed. The amount of atoms on this side always equal the amount of atoms on that side of a chemical equation, and they're both the same. I have 6 carbon atoms here. When I look over here, I have 6. There's no subscript, so it's 6 times 1. I have 6 carbon atoms there. I have 12 hydrogen atoms here. I have 6 times 2 is 12. 12 hydrogen atoms here. Okay? Things like that. I could go through the whole thing, but I don't want to belabor the video. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was helpful. Good luck.